Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time. We are going to be planting, but there's always a big but, right? I like big butts and I cannot lie. I've been posting pictures of the garden, different beds and stuff on the social medias, and I keep getting comments about, I wish I could grow like that. I wish I could grow like that. Well, I'm gonna make a bold statement here. If you plant a garden like this, you will have an amazing garden. So I'm going to show you my method for planting. And today we are going to be planting tomatoes, and we're going to be preparing the beds for peppers. I'll get into why they're going to be a little bit delayed, but other than that, this should get you in the right direction so that you can have an amazing garden this year. All right. So I dug my trenches for my drip system, and I do want to say this right off the bat. You do not need to have a drip system for an amazing garden. You can have an amazing garden with a $5 sprinkler. Just remember that. That is not what I'm saying here. So I use a drip system, multiple reasons. You can go back and find videos. You'll see more about it in the future, whatever. But this is the process. Dig the trenches, and you know what? Even if I didn't have a drip system, I would still dig these trenches. It's just easier that way. I like to give it a little bit of a weeding at first, obviously. Well, I don't know if it is obvious because I have so many weeds in my garden. But first step, lay your drip line. If not, skip that step. But we'll just get this in the ground. And then here is the most important part of all of this. I am going to be adding fertilizer into the garden, and I'm going to be adding 2 fertilizers, and I'm going to show you that process right now, and I'll explain it to you. So pre-planting fertilizer, super important. Even if you don't want to keep fertilizing throughout the whole season, this will help you the most. So I have 8-foot rows. And with this organic fertilizer, I put 4 handfuls in per row. And that will give me a good solid start to the season. This is a very slow release, has to start to break down before it works. So, you know, it's a little bit delayed. Now I'm planting tomatoes on this row back here. And so I'm not planting anything necessarily on this row, but I still want to put fertilizer in because it will continue to build my soil over the year, over the season, and the roots will get benefits of it too as they start to spread. So we just want to do that, and then that will get us into the right direction. So once we do that, that's 1 fertilizer down. I'm going to use urea as well, but I learned my lesson, and so I'll show you when it's time to put the urea down in a few minutes. We're going to do that, but first, let's get our plants in the ground. So these are all tomatoes that we're doing right now. All kinds of ways you can plant tomatoes. Nothing really, you know, it doesn't really matter what you do. The biggest thing is you want to bury them as deep as you can. So that's what we'll do. I'm having a little bit of a conundrum here. I don't know. I'm going to put 4 plants in here, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to put, I'm thinking out loud now, I think I'm going to put this ace bush tomato in. This one's so long and ready, and what I'll do for this one, because it is so long and I want to get as much of the stem in, so first of all, perfect. It's not really all that root bound. You can see the roots aren't really wrapping or anything like that, so this is about the perfect time. But what I'm going to do for this one, because it has a natural bend in it, is I'm going to go ahead and plant it sideways, and then I'll bury it. And then the other ones, you know, I'll just kind of cross that bridge as I come. I will do probably just dig a little bit, a hole a little bit deeper. And I also, because of the drip system, like if you're using a drip system or you want to switch to a drip system, I want to try and plant it as close to an emitter as possible. So remember, we're going to put 4 tomatoes in here. So that's an ace bush. Let's do aroma next. If I can find aroma. There's Aroma. There she is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll split the difference a little bit on this one. Again, nice roots, nothing crazy with this one. And if it's crooked like this, it'll straighten up. Don't worry about it. So we're gonna go ahead and bury a little bit deeper hole, and we wanna get this nice and deep. All right, so this is how I plant my tomatoes. Now, let me finish this up and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so we got 4 tomatoes in an 8-foot space. Gives them about a 2 foot across space for them to grow. Truth be told, it's probably gonna be a little bit crowded, but we're gonna run with it. Now, we're gonna put our urea in. So, what do we know about tomatoes? Well, we know that they don't require a lot of nitrogen, so we gotta taper that expectation and not pump them full of nitrogen right now. I also know, because of this bed right here, we kind of had a hiccup with urea. So we're not gonna go very heavy. I'm changing 2 things. I'm not putting a lot in, and I'm also not burying it. So we're just gonna give it a light sprinkling right on top. And what that'll do is that'll give it a little bit of nitrogen, and then they can go ahead and take that, do what they want with it, and it'll give them enough boost to kind of start producing a few more leaves, but then we're not gonna add any more nitrogen to these tomatoes. So across the board, that's really the story with all of summer crops, with the exception of corn. Corn needs a lot of nitrogen. Onions, which kind of bridge the gap, they need a lot of nitrogen until the time of bulbing. Same with garlic, they can use a lot of nitrogen until the time of bulbing. So you need to kind of understand what to give them. But when people say, how did your garden get so good? I wish I could do that. This is how we do it. You know, we give them food, and then we come back and we do it again and again and again, and we continue that process. But this is the only time that I will give them a high nitrogen feeding. Okay, now for the peppers, I'm doing the same thing, but I am gonna plant 2 rows of peppers, and I'm gonna zigzag down so the light can get them. Shouldn't be any issues there. And then we'll have this nice gap in the back for them. And then the tomatoes spread out, the peppers will spread. There should be still a little gap going down where they don't interfere with each other. The one last thing, we'll feed them this exact same way. Now they're delayed because they are hardening off, and I forgot to move them out into the sun. So I'm moving them out today so they get a little bit more sun, then they'll get a period of shade. And then I'll bring them out here and plant them at the end of the day for the last push of sun. So tomorrow they should be all set and ready to go. Get them into the ground tonight, and then this bed will be planted. So what we'll do is we'll come back. So this organic fertilizer will start to break down and feed within 2 weeks. So as they start to grow, now when I grow tomatoes, it is non-negotiable whatsoever. They will be mulched at some point. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Right now, we don't need to mulch them. We want that heat to warm the soil. That light colored mulch will reflect the sun and keep it a little bit cooler right now, so we don't want to do that. But the mulch will help keep the soil cooler, and the heat of the summer helps retain the water. But what it really does is it helps regulate the water so we don't get the cracking in the tomatoes and stuff like that. That can be a real hassle. So before we do that, once it starts warming up and we're like, hey, it's time, before we do that, we will come back and we will put another dose of organic fertilizer on the surface, and then we will just scratch it in with a hoe or something like that, and then get it in. Now, it's really important. When you look at this bed here, you may ask yourself, how can I get my broccoli, how can I get my tomatoes to look like that? It's really simple. Got kids in the room, cover their ears in 3, 2, 1. You gotta feed the shit out of them, straight up. You gotta feed them, man. Fertilizer and compost are 2 totally different things. Compost is a long-term feeder. It takes the whole season. It'll break down. It's awesome for the soil. Fertilizer is more of a quick burst. Give it its nutrients, and then boom, it'll grow. And then you break it down from organic to synthetic. Organic is a little bit longer term, slower release, takes time, has to break down, whereas synthetic will just go ahead and hit it right away. Now this urea is organic, but it hits it pretty hard. So that's why we learned our lesson last time, and we're just gonna go real light with it. Be very conservative, give it a little bit of juice, not bury it, because when you bury it, it traps the gases in and it gets even more concentrated. So as we leave it on the surface, it'll off gas above the surface, and then it'll kind of regulate itself as it feeds the plants. That's what we learned this year, and I will never ever forget it. I'm gonna spare you on the video, and I'm probably gonna come back and do this bed and this bed today, and we're gonna put squashes in it, but guess what? We're gonna do it the exact same way. No difference. Everything is the same. We always bury our lines the same. We always dig the trench the same. We always fertilize the same per season. Obviously it changes per plant, but it's always the same methods. And that way we get really good at it, and we can replicate it over and over and over again. So we're tweaking our spacing this year, because this is another very important factor. Is spacing is everything when it comes to a healthy garden as well. So with these, look, you see it right now and you're like, oh, okay, he's got 4 tomato plants, great. Well, if you space them out right, those plants can get bigger, have more room, and they will create more tomatoes. So whereas you could put 6 in here, with 4 you'll get more than if you had 6, because I'll actually produce. So understand, and it was really hard for me when I started to see a bed like this and be like, oh great, I got some tomatoes in the ground, yay. But once they grew, and it was impressive, the size that they got and how they grew over the season. You just keep that in mind. And that is how I plant my garden, and that is how you can replicate it, and you can do the same things. Watch your weather, feed, 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 and don't let it dry out. So right now, I'm done. I'm turning on the water, and we're gonna water it. So what are you planting in your garden right now? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you're getting ready to plant. Let us know if you're excited. Hell, just let us know something. Who cares? And actually, is it a new week? I believe it is. What is your highest high and your lowest low for the week in your neck of the woods?